Hello and good day everyone. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Sir Marcy, and for today's lesson, I am going to teach you how to solve problems involving quadratic equations. But before we go directly to our lesson, I have a short quiz for you. Are you guys ready? The title of our first activity is called Let's Recall. It is a multiple choice question and you are given only 5 seconds to answer each question. Alright, let's start. Question number 1. What are the roots of the quadratic equation x squared plus 6x minus 55 is equal to 0? Timer starts now. Alright, time's up. The correct answer is 5 and negative 11. Okay, next question. Find the solutions of the equation x squared plus 4x plus 3 is equal to 0. Okay, time's up. And the correct answer is negative 1 and negative 3. And for our last question, the roots of a quadratic equation are 8 and negative 8. What is the equation? Timer starts now. Okay, time's up. And the correct answer is x squared minus 64. Our next activity is called translating algebra. In this activity, you're going to translate an English phrase to mathematical expression. Activity number 2. Translate the following into mathematical expression. Okay? So for example, we're going to translate 5 times a number y increased by 10 in mathematical expression. The answer is 5y plus 10. This time, I will allow you to answer the remaining questions and I will only give you 15 seconds to answer it. Timer starts now. Alright, time's up. In number 2, we have 8 times the sum of m and n. The answer is 8 times the quantity m plus n. Number 3, the difference of 10 times y and d, that is simply 10y minus d. Next, we have number 4, 10 times the difference of twice a number b and another number x, that is simply 10 times the quantity 2b minus x. Next, we have number 5. 3 less than 2 times a number x is 10, that is 2x minus 3 is equal to 10. Lastly, we have number 6, 9 increased by a number y cubed, that is 9 plus y raised to the third power. Okay, I hope you all got the answers correct. It seems like you are now ready to our lesson. Our lesson today is all about solving problems involving quadratic equations. What are the steps in solving word problems? Okay, number 1, draw and label a picture if necessary. Number 2, define all the variables. Number 3, determine if there is a special formula needed. 4, write the equation in standard form. 5, factor. And 6, set each factor equal to 0. Lastly, check your answers. Problem number 1. A piece of land in Western Bicutan, Taguig City will be used for coronavirus quarantine facility. The land is 8 meters longer than its width, and the area is 48 square meters. How will the surveyor find the dimension and the perimeter of the facility? First, we represent the quarantine facility as a rectangle. the length of the facility is 8 meters longer than its width. So we have L is equal to x plus 8. Then we represent the width to be x. We also have an area which is equal to 48 square meters. If we're going to write this in our representation, this is the length which is x plus 8 and our width is this one and the area is here. So 48 square meters. Also, to find the area of a rectangle, we use the formula length times the width. So length multiplied to width is equal to A. By substitution, we know that the length here is represented by x plus 8 and our width is x, wherein the area is equal to 48. It is now a quadratic equation, not in standard form, if we will distribute or multiply x to x plus 8. So that's x times x. We have x squared plus 8x is equal to 48. So to make this standard, we subtract both sides of the equation by negative 48. So this becomes x squared plus 8x minus 48 is equal to 0. It's now a quadratic equation in standard form. From here, we can use the different techniques we discussed before on how to solve for the roots or the solution of a quadratic equation. So you can use factoring, completing the square, or quadratic formula in this example. So, for the meantime, I will use factoring. First, we factor the first term, and the factor of x squared is x times 8. And we list all the factors of 48. Let's say we have 8 times 6. Also, we have 12 times 4. And we have 24 times 2. And lastly, 48 multiplied to 1. So suppose these are all the factors of 48. Next is we will add. This becomes 8 plus 6, 14. 12 plus 4 is 16. 24 plus 2 is 26. And 48 plus 1 is 49. So let's check if we get positive 8 from adding the factors. If not, we'll try to apply subtraction. So we subtract the factors. So 8 minus 6, we have 2. 8 minus 4, we have 8. So since we already have our 8, or we already get 8, then we can now use this as a factor of x squared plus 8x minus 48. So we now have x plus 12 multiplied to x minus 4 is equal to 0. Then we apply the zero product property. That means we're going to make each factor equal to 0. We have x plus 12 is equal to 0 and x minus 4 is equal to 0. Then we solve for x in this equation. So we add both sides of the equation by negative 12. So we have x is equal to negative 12. On the other equation, we add both sides of the equation by positive 4. So we have x is equal to 4. Okay? In this case, we will not accept negative root or solution since there is no negative measure. Therefore, so this means we will not use this as a solution, but instead we'll use x is equal to 4, and we know that x is our width. So we already now have the value for our width, which is x. And to solve for the length, we use the formula x plus 8. And we know that x is equal to 4. So 4 plus 8 is equal to 12. So we now have our measure for the length, which is now 12 meters. And our width, we have 4 meters. If we're going to get the dimension of the rectangular lot or the quarantine facility, the measure of it is 12 meters by 4 meters. Next, we're going to find the perimeter of the facility. To solve for the perimeter, if you still remember, the formula is simply twice the length plus twice the width. That is 2 multiplied to the measure of our length, which is 12, plus 2 times the measure of our width, which is 4. Then we have P is equal to 2 times 12, 24, plus 2 times 4, we have 8. Then the perimeter measures 32 meters. Problem number 2. The sum of two numbers is 13 and their product is 36. Find the numbers. If we're going to represent, or if we will let x sub 1 be our first number and x sub 2 be our second number. So based on our problem, the sum of two numbers is 13. That is simply x sub 1 plus x sub 2 is equal to 13. And their product is 36, which is x sub 1 multiplied to x sub 2 is equal to 36. In order for us to find the numbers, we will apply the concept of sum and product of the roots. Going back to this topic, we know that x sub 1 plus x sub 2 is equal to negative b all over a. And we also have x sub 1 times x sub 2 is equal to c all over a. From this given, we know that we can represent 13 as negative b all over a. And the product is c all over a. After that, we will just substitute it to the formula x sub x squared minus negative b all over ax plus c all over a is equal to 0. So we know that negative b over a is 13. So we have x squared minus 13x. And we know that c over a is the sum of the product of the roots, which is 36 is equal to 0. Notice we now have a quadratic equation wherein we can now solve for the roots either or using the different techniques. For this case, I'm going to use factoring. The factor of x squared is x times x, and the factor of 36, we have 6 multiplied to 6. We also have 9 multiplied to 4, and 36 times 1. Okay? Then we add the factors. 6 plus 6 is 12, 9 plus 4 is 13, and 36 times 1 is 37. So notice we need negative 13, but we only have positive 13. So to make this negative, we'll make both of the factors negative so that when you get the sum of these two, we'll have negative 13. Also, when you multiply negative 9 times negative 4, the product is positive 36. So the roots are x, or the factors are x minus 9 multiplied to x minus 4 is equal to 0. Then we apply the zero product property. We have x minus 9 is equal to 0 and x minus 4 is equal to 0. So we apply addition property. So we add both sides of the equation by positive 9. This is now 0. Then x is equal to 0 plus 9. We have 9. X is equal to 9. Then we add both sides again by positive 4. So this is 0. X is equal to 0 plus 4. The answer is 4. So these are the numbers. So x is equal to 9 and x is equal to 4. When you add these two, 9 plus 4, that is 13. When you multiply 9 and 4, the product is 36. Problem number 3. A rectangular table has an area of 45 square feet and a perimeter of 28 feet. What are the dimensions of the table? So first, we have an area of 45 square feet. Also, we have a perimeter of 28 feet. First, we're going to determine the area of how to solve for the area of a rectangle, and that is length times width is equal to 45. And for the perimeter, the formula is 2L or twice the length plus twice the width is equal to 28. Okay? Notice that we can still simplify the perimeter. We can divide all of this by 2. So we have L plus W is equal to 14. Then let's try to examine. Notice that to find the area, we use the formula length times width. So we apply product. And to find the perimeter and we simplify it, we get length plus width is equal to 14. So we use sum. Meaning to say, we can apply here the concept of sum and product. Again, that is simply x sub 1 plus x sub 2 is equal to negative b all over a. Also, we have x sub 1 times x sub 2 is equal to c all over a for the product. If we're going to represent this in terms of sum and product, we know that negative b over a here is your 14. And the product is 45. We just again substitute this to our equation x squared minus negative b all over a x plus c all over a is equal to 0. We now have x squared minus 14x plus 45 is equal to 0. Then we list again or we factor x squared, which is x times x. Then we also factor 45, that is 9 multiplied to 5. We also have 45 times 1. So let's assume that these are all the factors. So next is we're going to add 9 plus 5, that is 14, and 45 plus 1 is 46. Meaning to say, we're going to use this 9 and 5, but what we need to do is to make it negative 14. So by making the factors, again, both negative. So that when you add these two, we'll have negative 14. When you multiply negative 5 and negative 9, that is positive 45. So the roots or the factors are x minus 9 multiply to x minus 5 is equal to 0. Then we apply the zero product property, making each factor equal to 0. So x minus 9 is equal to 0 and x minus 5 is equal to 0. Add both sides of the equation by 9. So we have x is equal to negative 9 plus 9. This is 0. Is equal to 0 plus 9. We have positive 9. Then this is, we add both sides of the equation again by positive 5. So cancelled, or this is equal to 0. X is equal to 0 plus 5. Then that is 5. Now, we know that the length is 9 feet and the width is 5 feet. So, the dimension of the table would be 9 feet by 5 feet. All right, now it's your turn. I have here 3 questions, and if you know the answer, please write your answer in the comment section. Okay, here's the questions. Number 1, the length of a rectangle floor is twice the width. The area of the floor is 32 square meters. What are the dimensions of the room? Number 2. If the perimeter of a rectangular garden is 76 meters and the area is 360 square meters, what are the dimensions of the garden? And last number, number 3, the sum of two numbers is 27 and their product is 50. What are the numbers? That's all for now. Thank you for watching and please don't forget to like and subscribe to my YouTube channel.